Hey guys, this is DCHL Devin here, and I wanted to talk about a little bit of a subject that I brought up in my latest video on how to play. In the video How to Play Harad, I talked about a new section where I discussed how to buy the army for less than $100. Now, I think this is extremely valuable if you're going to try to start an army. The How to Play videos are meant for beginners or people who don't have that current army and are thinking about getting into it, but don't have enough money to do so. Well, the video itself is advice, but I think I should add in, if you don't have the money to collect the race, how would you do so for extremely cheap? I feel like $100 is probably about the minimum you should expect to spend on any army, regardless of your budget range. If you don't have that, then you just don't have the money. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go back for a second before I progress with future How to Play videos. And we're going to talk about Folk and Angmar, which are the first two races. So for Angmar, actually, I guess we can go ahead and start with them. I think an easy way to get a $100 list with that you're looking for like 500 points maybe, or as close as possible. I guess we can go ahead and start with the obvious. We'll start with some hero model. I think the Barrow Whites are a great ad for this. The Barrow Whites are only $15 and give you two of them right off the back. So that's two heroes for $15. Has the Angmar feel and, to be honest with you, powerful units in your army. As we discussed in the How to Play video, and as many of you have probably realized, these guys are pretty nasty units. You definitely should have them in your Angmar force if you're going to play this race. Angmar is a shutdown race, so what better way to shut down the enemy than with these guys? I think if you're going to go ahead and add on to them, Warriors of the Dead would be a second buy. Now, Angmar doesn't actually have any Warriors of the Dead except in War of the Ring. But in Lord of the Rings, you can easily proxy them as Spectres. And they kind of look similar, or similar enough. They're both dead models. So, I mean, realistically, though, if you want a box of 12 of them, which is probably the best you're going to do as far as a box set, then 25 for 12 of these guys, that's 12 Spectres in your army for a huge amount of points. If you add that up, I can't say it on here, but if you add that up, that's a lot of points. It'll really fill up your ranks pretty quickly. And Spectres are pretty useful. 12 of them is just about right where you'd want to be for a mid-range game. I wouldn't field this many in a low-point game, but I'll get back to that later on how you can mitigate this a little bit. And the next thing you'd want to buy probably is Mortal Orcs. So now you have Mortal Orcs for $25. You have 12 of them. Warriors of the Dead, which are Spectres, so you have 12 of them for $25. And you have Barrow Whites for $15. So far we're at $65. And we can go ahead and round out the list with the Dwemer Lake and or the Tainted. You can do either one of those. I think both of these are great Ringwraith models to have in your army. Either one could proxy as either one, so if you like the Tainted's model better, then you can go ahead and proxy it as the Dwemer Lake, or really any Ringwraith. All the Ringwraiths kind of have a very similar look and appeal. The only thing I'd worry about is the fact that the Dwemer Lake has a two-handed sword, but realistically I don't think anyone will care about the fact that he's wielding it with two hands. So let's go ahead and recap on that list one more time before we move on. We have Barrow Whites, 2 of those. We have Warriors of the Dead, a pack of those. And we have Mortal Orcs, 12 of those. And then the Dwemer Lake or the Tainted. So this is a good, little less than 500 point army that should be an awesome fighting force for you. So another way, if you want to switch up this list, we can actually get into a different style. So if you don't like that one, you can do this one. Which we can start off with Birder. Birder is a cave troll chieftain, basically. I guess a hero troll for Angmar. A lot of people like to think of them as hill trolls, and or snow trolls if you're used to the Battle for Middle-earth video games. And the next, after that, if you're going to buy that, you should start with Orcs. I think Orcs are just a great add to that. Now, I would say get a Cave Troll and then throw that into this. However, unfortunately, I only have $100 to work with here. So a Cave Troll plus Birder is already $60. You're not really getting too much more in your force, and you're not going to be all that competitive. So I wouldn't recommend getting a Cave Troll if you're on a $100 budget. If you're more than that, absolutely, go ahead and grab it. Otherwise, though, we're going to go ahead and stick with Birder, some Orcs, so you have 12 Orcs, then buy the Men of the Dead again. Now, you don't actually have to proxy them as Spectres. Instead, if you want, you can proxy them as Men of Carn Dum. Men of Carn Dum, if you just paint them, not dead, basically, like this, then you can easily have 12 of these guys, and then you can say they are, let's say, Morannon orcs. You can easily ally right into the race of Mordor, no problem. Then you can have a leader from there, and I'll get to that in a second. But Men of Carndum is a nice, fluffy way to have an Angmar force without actually, having to buy some of those units, or if you just want to use the Morannon orcs for a little bit more punching power in your race. You already have Birder, so why not go this direction? Then we can go ahead and throw in, let's say, Gorbag and Shagrat into the race, and that would be your two hero models. Now, you can just proxy one or the other, so Shagrat can be literally Shagrat to bring in the Men of Carndum, quote-unquote. You can just paint him to have a similar color scheme. He'll be basically a leader of Carndum. And then Gorbag could be just an orc captain. Then you can easily model one of your orcs with a banner if you even so choose. Another option here is a Shade. Now, I know a Shade is unavailable from the Games Workshop line. However, there is a pretty suitable replacement, actually, is the Spirit Hosts from Games Workshop. And the Spirit Hosts, they come in a pack of 3, so you have a lot of extra ones there, and I don't know, I guess you could sell them, or maybe you can pick them apart and maybe even turn some of them into Barrow Whites. It's an idea. But the thing is, if you just take one set of them and put them together on a round base, it makes a pretty good looking Shade, to be honest with you. So that will give you the Shade in your force if you're willing to go that route. And so you have a Shade instead of Gorbag and Shagrat. Another option instead of Gorbag and Shagrat is the Mordor Uruk-hai. Mordor Uruk-hai are really kind of underplayed. No one really uses them, so they look really unique on the battlefield. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to say the Barbarians of Carndum leaders would look like this. They have kind of a rough and barbaric sort of look to them, just paint them with more human skin. Fortunately for us, the Uruk-hai kind of look similar to humans with this much clothing on. So realistically, they just look like kind of fatter-faced humans, really. I mean, even some of the ones you see in the back have a skinnier face. So I think this is a great way to mix up your army a little bit. So there you have a captain, birder, or shade, either one of these. Any of these combinations will keep you under $100, and you'll pretty much have a hard-hitting army that's pretty effective for its points. Alright guys, so that's all I have for you today on Angmar and how to buy them for cheap. I'm going to cover Durin's Folk in my next video. It's going to be just another quick video just like this. And then we'll move forward, and all future how to play videos will not only include effective ways to play the army and the strengths and weaknesses of it, but also if you're interested in the strengths and weaknesses that I talk about, how would you buy that for as cheap as possible? Just remember, a lot of players may not like these proxies and stuff like that, but you just have to let them understand that you're new to the game, and then they'll usually, if they're a good player, they'll understand they'd rather have a new player who can play the game and then later on get the actual force, rather than dismissing you and being like, no, you can't play the game because you didn't spend as much money as me. I think that's a bit of a ridiculous thing. I think new players are always important to get, especially in this time, so you shouldn't have a problem with that at all. Let me know what you guys thought of all this, and thanks for watching.